Hello everybody, it's Jamie, as you all now well know, and today we shall talk about the story of the SS New Australia. Now, she had quite the life to tell, going through a lot in her time, but she started off in life as the Monarch of Bermuda. However, I will be doing something different. Today, I will be telling the story of the ship from when she became the New Australia, and I will leave her life as the Monarch of Bermuda for another video. So anyway, let's begin with the specification of the New Australia. Now, in this timeline she is still the SS Monarch of Bermuda. Now, the ship measured 168.6 meters long, 23.3 meters wide, and with an 11.8 meter draft. She was fitted with 2 steam turbines and 2 electric motors connected to 4 shafts, with a top speed of 19.85 knots. And in her post-war configuration, the ship was able to carry 1,600 passengers, and she measured a tonnage of 20.256 gross registered tons. Now, the ship was originally built in 1931 by the shipbuilders Vickers Armstrong Limited for the Furnace Wivey and Company Limited, and would enter service as a troop transport during the Second World War. Now, she would of course do the duties of a transport ship. Now, when the war ended, the ship was sent back to her original owners and was refitted back for commercial service, and due to re-enter service by the end of the 40s. However, tragedy struck for the ship. Now, on the 24th of May 1947, the ship was gutted by fire and covered the yard with a cloud of smoke. When the smoke cleared, the ship was inspected. It soon became clear that the ship was better off becoming scrap metal than to be restored, and it would seem like the end for the ship. However, the ship avoided death, as the British government had done closer inspections on the ship and found that her engines were still in operational condition, and the British Ministry of Transport purchased the ship and immediately took her out to sea to test the conditions of the engines. It must have been a unique sight to behold, right? Seeing a charred hulk of a ship moving on her own power. It's odd. It's basically seeing a dead ship come back to life. Anyhow, after a brief testing was done, the ship sailed to Southampton and would be painstakingly rebuilt by the shipbuilders Thorncroft for the next 3 years. Now, when the ship came out of her 3-year-long reconstruction, she looked completely different. No one could tell that this was the former Monarch of Bermuda. She had a short structure and fitted with 2 funnels, or 1? She's quite the odd design, having been fitted with a single funnel, but also had one just forward of the main funnel with 2 mast-like structures coming together. Now, in 1949, the ship was officially named the New Australia and was handed to the Shaw Saville A. Albanian line to operate on behalf of the MOT. Now, after some small repairs in July 1950, the ship was ready for her maiden voyage and departed Southampton on August the 15th, 1950, for Sydney via the Suez and making calls at Fremantle, Adelaide and Melbourne. During the early part of the voyage, the ship lost one of her anchors during rough weather in Biscay Bay, but the voyage would treat them with something interesting. While stopping in the Suez to be refueled, locals had rowed out to the ship, offering souvenirs to the passengers, where the items would be roped up to the ship. Now, when the voyage had ended in Port Sydney on September the 18th, she headed out for Indonesia to pick up endangered soldiers and their families, and sailed for the Netherlands, but would continue to transport immigrants. However, something would change in March 1953. The New Australia arrived in Sydney on March the 1st, 1953, having completed a voyage when the Australian government and military had requisitioned the ship, and she would carry troops of the 2nd Battalion heading for Korea, and would continue to carry troops till April 1945, and returned to her immigrant service for the remainder of 1945 and 1955. She transported troops again in March 1946, but besides that, continued her immigrant service. The New Australia departed on what would be her last migrant voyage on August the 16th, 1957, to Australia, and once landing in Australia, the ship was sent out on a trooping voyage to Singapore with the 3rd Battalion. When returning to Sydney, the ship was involved in a collision with the tanker Frans Stoof of the Lawrence Rendry Company on September the 29th, 1957. Fortunately, there were no casualties, and both ships didn't receive major damages. However, it would turn to panic when a leaking tank on board the tanker caught fire, and the crew eventually extinguished the flames. Now, both ships remained at the site of the collision for 3 days, while minor repairs were being made, and New Australia returned to Sydney on the 31st of October. Now, the ship was what was called a migrant charter, and that was officially terminated on September the 21st, and the New Australia departed for Southampton on November the 8th. When on arrival, the ship was laid up, and it appeared that the ship's life would come to an end. Things changed in early January 1958, when she was bought by the London-based company Ornos Shipping Company Limited, who resold the ship just days later to the Arcadia Steamship Corporation, being part of the Greek line. The ship was sent to Blom & Voss to repair and refit. This resulted in her bow being extended and her foremast being replaced by 2 king pots, and now measured a length of 179.8 meters and an increased tonnage of 20.648 gross registered tons, and refitted to carry 1.337 tourist class, with a small addition of 50 first class. Now the company renamed her to the Arcadia, and she would commence her maiden voyage on May the 22nd, 1958, from Bremerhaven to Quebec and Montreal via Cherbourg and Liverpool. For the first time since 1939, the ship was used as a proper passenger ship. Since 1939 on Transatlantic voyages to Canada, and would mainly cruise throughout the 1960s. On December the 22nd, 1963, a fleetmate of the Arcadia caught fire while on a Christmas cruise. It was the Laconia, a 20.314 gross ton ship. The Arcadia was tasked with filling in the spot of her lost fleetmate, and things started to look good for the ship. But things would take a turn for the final time. On August the 16th, 1966, the Arcadia departed on her last commercial voyage from Bremerhaven to Montreal. Once arriving, she departed on August the 26th, and she was laid up in Riverfall, Cornwall, on November the 21st, and within weeks she was sold to Spanish breakers. And on December the 8th, 1966, she arrived in Valencia, Spain, where she was broken up. And that is the end of a video, my friends. I certainly loved making this video. The new Australia has been in my list for a long time, so I really enjoyed bringing it to you guys. And remember, this is the former Monarch of Bermuda. This ship has had so many changes, but she has an amazing story. So I hope you guys liked it. I quickly want to thank all the new subscribers who have subscribed to my channel. As you all know by now, it just blows me away how many of you guys actually enjoy my content and the ships I bring to you. It blows my mind. Now, if you have friends who like ocean liners or ships, please show them my channel. We are now trying to reach the 700 subscribers, and we are getting close, my friends, so I know we can do that together. If you have any thoughts on the ships or comments and thoughts, please leave them in the comment section down below. I love reading your comments. It's an amazing fun for me to do. And it also means a lot to me. So if you have any thoughts or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. And I reply to each and every one of them. So yes. So with that out of the way, guys, I wish you a good night or day wherever you are. And we will see each other on the next video. Goodbye.